The ego doesn't want peace. It wants position. It wants to be seen as right, seen as more, seen as special. It doesn't care about being free. It cares about being admired. And when life is run by ego, it becomes a performance, a constant loop of proving, posturing, and pretending. And underneath it, exhaustion. Because no matter how much is achieved, how many compliments received, the ego is never full. It always wants more. Ego builds its identity around what is owned, what it controls, what it's praised for. This is mine. That is me. I did this. It clings to roles, titles, opinions, and even suffering just to maintain the illusion of importance. But the moment someone disagrees, doesn't validate, or doesn't respond the way it hoped, they become the enemy. And suddenly we're not relating, we're defending. We're projecting what we don't want to see in ourselves onto others just to protect the myth. When ego leads, we don't listen, we wait to speak. We don't learn, we try to look smart. We don't grow, we double down on being right. Because the ego isn't curious. It's threatened by what it doesn't already know. That's why it's so hard to admit when we're wrong, or to change direction, or to say, I didn't know that. Thank you. The ego wants to appear wise, but it resists the humility required to become wise. And here's the truth most people avoid. If the ego is not willing to surrender, it'll eventually be shattered. Life has a way of doing what truth requires. The ego can bluff, pose, but eventually something will come along that it can't control. And that performance will collapse. In that collapse, you realize none of it was real. Not the image, not the titles, not the power. Only the present remains. And presence doesn't perform. It is. Freedom begins where ego ends, not because the ego is evil, but because it's small. It can't carry the weight of the soul. It wasn't built for truth. It was built for survival. But you weren't born to survive your image. You were born to embody the truth. To live without the need to dominate, compare, or impress. To release the myth of me. And to remember the quiet power of simply being. If you don't break your ego, life will. Not as a punishment, but as an invitation to come home, to live free, to finally be real.